Now, I don't want to speak too soon, nor do I want to put pressure on my 13-year-old guest. What you're about to hear may be as good as it gets. But first, John Marsden is one of Australia's most successful authors. He also lends his name to the John Marsden and Hachette Australia Prize for Young Writers. It's what's described as a developmental award open exclusively to Australian secondary school students aged between 12 and 18 in the categories of fiction, non-fiction and poetry. Just 15 writers from around the country are shortlisted. They receive feedback on their work, a cash and a book prize, a meeting with John Marsden and an invitation to take part in an exclusive creative writing workshop. The 2019 winners were announced early this month, and they include, in the non-fiction category, a young lady called Preethika Mathan. Now, Preethika is a 13-year-old student at Santa Sabina College at Strathfield in Sydney. Her winning piece is called The Truth and Lies Between Love and Hate. It's about her 11-year-old disabled brother, Ashen. A listener who's read the story, as I have, has written to me to say, it's an incredible read, and it's hard to believe that someone so young is capable of expressing their feelings in the way that Preethika has done. Now, you can read the story yourself. In fact, all the works of the winners at expressmedia.org.au, Look in the Programs section and scroll down the left-hand side for the John Marsden and Hachette Australia Prize. And Preethika, the 13-year-old, is here with me. Good evening.
Hi, Mr. Jones.
Isn't she sweet? Now tell me, why did you write this to start with?
You know, I think there were three things that really inspired this piece for me. I think, first of all, I really wanted siblings of disability, particularly the young ones who are just starting to come to terms with it, to understand that it's okay to have mixed feelings towards your disabled counterparts and that it's completely normal. And second of all, I really wanted to show the often debilitating impacts of inadequate support, not only on the child living with disability, but also on their siblings. And finally, I really wanted to show the human side of the NDIS and why it's so important to us.
What a beautiful young lady. Now listen, I'm told though, before we get back to the book, you're a public speaker and you reached the state finals of the Legacy Junior Public Speaking Awards last year.
Yes.
So you like that, putting ideas together?
Yeah, I think I've always been interested in speaking. I love talking, and so public speaking just kind of followed that, and I'm really enjoying it now as I get into Year 8 because my scope on global issues has really widened.
Well, now tell us about Ashen. He's 2 years younger than you. He was diagnosed when he was 3 with ASD, autism spectrum disorder. In terms of his day-to-day life as you observe it, because you've written about this, what does that mean?
You know, I think with Ashan and his day-to-day life, it really comes down to the fact that obviously I've lived with him and his autism for the past 11 years, and so the way that I perceive it, to me, it's quite normal as a brother, but obviously it is different. And, you know, I think one of the biggest things that does set him apart from typical kids his age is that he can't be left alone. You know, we were a lucky family. We started therapy with him from a very early age, and so we did teach him how to communicate his needs to us, but at the same time, he doesn't always understand when he can and can't have those things. And
Aren't you wonderful? You write in the book, you describe him as minimally verbal, there he is, there isn't it, hyperactive and steadfastly in toddlerhood, but then you say he hugs and tantrums with gusto and he loves and hates with equal passion.
Yeah, I think I was really trying to describe how Ashan really is because, you know, he's not doing anything that he does maliciously. He's not trying to be annoying or mean. Beautiful. And he's genuinely just, you know, he loves unrestrictedly, but sometimes, yes, he hates unabashedly. And that's one of the things that I do love about him. You know, he's an open book, but at the same time, I do wish he'd lie sometimes. You know, if I ask him if I look pretty, he'll say no. So
Isn't she sweet? 13. Now, this is beautiful. You write in the book, and it speaks volumes about the story, and not the book, the essay. You say, one day he'll be my only family and my sole responsibility. So even at 13, you think about that?
You know, I think it's something that, and I think all siblings will relate to me here when I say this, we all think about it, you know, we all know it. It's as normal to us as, you know, going to high school when you're old enough. And so we've always known that it's going to happen. But I wrote it down because I knew that it would resonate with people and that they would understand our sense of urgency about the future and why we're so vocal about that today.
Just amazing. You speak beautifully. That's what you say. Tell us about the title, The Truth That Lies Between Love and Hate. Where did that come from?
You know, I knew what I was trying to say and I knew what my content would be, but I still needed a title that would grab people's attention so that they would stay and read on to listen to my message. And I love wordplay, and so to me, those words really did speak to me because it encapsulated what I was trying to say, but I thought it would grab readers' attention.
Grab the attention. You start the story by saying, I love him. It's sometimes a truth and sometimes a lie. When is it a truth and when is it a lie?
You know, I think that question can definitely be asked of a lot of relationships. You know, you go through your ups and downs. But obviously my relationship with my brother, given his autism, is a bit different. And, you know, obviously, like if I'm trying to do an assignment and he's having a meltdown, then yes, it is a lie in those situations. And I did write about that because I really wanted people to understand that it's not a clear-cut emotion. You know, it really is this mix-up and, you know, we can't even decipher what we're feeling often towards that condition.
You write about your mum working with Ashen with some flashcards and him grasping a simple concept, and you describe it as a small win in a long battle within a lifelong war.
You know, I think I was really trying to convey our daily struggle because, you know, living with autism really is like being in a war. You know, take my brother, for example. We might teach him how to communicate his needs and we'll win that small battle, but there's always going to be more battles to face, especially as he gets older and his needs become more complex to teach him. And so, you know, yeah, when we live with autism, it is like being in a war zone. And each of those small battles matter. And to win those battles, we need reinforcement. And I was really trying to convey that, yeah, that's why support is so crucial to us.
You believe all this? I told you, didn't I? I told you, you should be here where I am and I could be over there and you could be interviewing me. Does this as a 13-year-old, does this take a lot of energy and emotion?
You know, I think that obviously I love talking, and so to me, and I think mostly I'm just happy that, you know, people are empathising with the story that I share with so many other siblings, and that's really what I feel towards this. But obviously, you know, it's late nights and I've got a few tests over the rest of the week, so...
You good at school?
You know, I wouldn't say good. You know, I enjoy school, and I think that's all that matters, really.
What's your best subject?
I don't know. I think my mum and dad are both very finance-oriented people, and I think my mum in particular really hoped that I wouldn't be going down the financial path.
And?
But I really do enjoy maths, and I think that's one of the subjects that I'm really passionate about.
You're right. If I utter that, you said you're right, so sometimes I hate him. And you say, if I utter that aloud, that is, I hate him, I'd be vilified. But you said, well, that happens. Has there been any criticism?
You know, obviously, I think had I brought that up in, you know, a day-to-day conversation like normal siblings do, you know, saying, I hate my brother, he's so annoying, then, and, you know, I've had that experience. I was really young. I was probably 5 at the time where all my friends were saying, I hate my brother, and I just jumped in and said, I hate my brother too. And I just remember the pin drop silence. And, you know, it wasn't their fault. It isn't something that you would normally hear a sibling say, and it's like he's disabled, you know, you can't say that. And so that, I think, really was what I was trying to convey in the piece, that that it is a completely normal feeling.
And, of course, you're dwelling constantly on his ability, not his disability. Your dad tells me you're the best defender of Ashen's rights and that in Ashen's eyes you're a superhero. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, you know, I would like to think that, and, you know, if he thinks that, then I must have done something right because, you know, he really has shaped me into the person that I've become today. And so, yeah, I think...
What would you like people to take away from the story? Were you thinking about that when you wrote it, about what people might learn from you sharing that experience, or was it just nice for you to be able to empty that experience onto paper?
You know, I think it was really a bit of both. Obviously, I think when I sat down to write it, I had some very clear things that I wanted people to kind of take away from the piece. I really wanted, first of all, for people to understand that it's all right if siblings have those mixed feelings. Second, that the NDIS isn't just this kind of policy. It really does have a human effect on all of our lives. Yeah, that it is a people thing as well. But, you know, also it was great to be able to, you know, put all those emotions down in writing. And it was a bit of a relief for me, but also gave me a bit of an excuse at home.
Aren't you a beautiful isn't she a beautiful person? I've got to tell you, Ashen, you're doing all right here. I mean, this is, if you want to, it's Preethika. Beautiful name, isn't it? Preethika Mathan, M-A-T-H-A-N. Have I got the pronunciation right?
Yes.
Preethika Mathan, the non-fiction winner of the John Marsden and Hachette Australia Prize for Young Writers. Now, to read her story and those of all the winners, you go to expressmedia.com.au, look in the program section and scroll down the left-hand side for the John Marsden and Hachette Australia Prize. Now, can I just say you've brought a lot of dignity and decency and class to our viewers tonight.
Thank you.
They are out there wanting me to say thank you to you for sharing that with us. We're really lucky as a country that we've got young people who speak and act and respond as you do.
Thank you
for
so
being
much,
with us.
and thank you for having me.
God, isn't she an angel? That's Preethika.